This was supposed to be a video about the receiver, but it's turning into a little bit of a video about the vendor. Optics Planet sent me the receiver in a bag, like in a bag. And I knew the package was here when I heard the aluminum hit the cement porch. It was 80 bucks with tax, free shipping, with a discount, with a coupon. And I don't want to hear about this is okay, because it isn't. This thing obviously got banged around. If you look closely, there's a bunch of dings. And of course, I yelled at the driver, I yelled at Optics Planet. They don't have any more in stock. So they're offering me $26 discount. I told them I want to look this over first and talk to a supervisor before I do anything. So, review of the receiver. This is really cool. I've seen these only two places. Spikes on Optics Planet and a couple other sites and from PSA. And what's different about it is that not only does it not have a forward assist or a shell deflector, it's got no port door. And if you look on the regular receivers, there's a flat up here. It thickens out here because you've got this radius, and then up here you got this flat surface, and it's actually for the door to rest. So I think it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, where I believe this area might be thinned out, although I'm not exactly sure, because you have ears on an M4 receiver, but it's like scalloped out a little bit. So this may be a little beefier, but it's thinner up here, which provides reinforcement on what's otherwise, you know, a wall with a big hole in it for the M4 receiver. But I saw this and I said, man, this is so freaking cool. So that's about the receiver. Well, the design anyway. Well, this is interesting. Bolt doesn't really fit in there. Holy shit. This thing gets stomped on. Yeah, it's getting pinched somewhere. That's without a charging handle. Well, I'm gonna do the rest of the review anyway. This is about what it would look like with the bolt closed. Pretty snazzy. It's actually cut down gas tube. Let's see if this manages to emerge out the front. And it does. Looks like it's more or less on center. That's nice. The lugs are well oversized. Mil spec is 493 to 496. For the most part on commercial guns, to tighten up that fit with the lower, which is supposed to be 500 plus, most of them have a lower that's right at 500, and then they beef up the upper. But this is excessive. I mean, for how cool this is, I might make it work, especially depending on how much money they give me back. Not gonna bother putting this in with the handle. What else? My laptop broke, so I don't have my access to my M4 TDP. This isn't terrible. It's not as tight as I would expect with an arrow or something like that. So it's a shit way to measure ID, but it's somewhere around an inch. This thing is pretty well within spec. And I do have a mic, don't have it handy. I got at least 1,000 clearance there, I think, just by the feel of it. Picatinny rail gauge. This is fun. I bought this to help me figure out which handguards would center a sight properly. It has not helped, but it's a cool gadget. So it goes on the +2 side. I'm not gonna slide it all the way down, but I'll check both sides. I had a BCM receiver and the rail past the gauge, but it didn't center the sight. all the sights were off center. And I got arrow receiver they center, arrow handguards they center. So as much as they scream budget, you know, I don't think I'm even gonna bolt this, but let's just lay this down, press this way, and you can see it's shifted way to the left. So it's a mystery how this works, where they have these rails that pass the gauge, but they fail, actually looking nice miserably. And so if you want to see how much of a land you have there, if you want to use this, you know, you're obviously the front sight goes on a handguard, but now you're, when I had this issue on the handguard, this was biased left, the rear required windage. Now, if I put the rear on this, then, well, I guess it'll work out okay, right? Because I end up, the handguard sits straight with the front sight, the rear will be drifted, it's just the mount will be off. So, I mean, it could be worse. I'll probably use this for a build where I won't have irons on it. And it's got dry film lube, so that's nice. The finish blows. Really, this light doesn't do it justice. Serviceable, but it's the second worst I've ever seen. The worst one I've ever seen was in PSA. So there you have it. Oh, and how could I forget the finish? I don't know what it'll look like to you watching, but it's like black, shiny, chalky. It's the only way I can describe it. I knew from the pictures I wouldn't like it. This is not ever gonna match any of my parts. But again, it was a cool piece, so decided to give it a shot anyway. I'm just wondering now if I can get it at a deep discount. How the hell am I gonna open it up so it doesn't pitch the bolt carrier?